everyone. My name is Leslie Harrington. I'm a health and fitness coach and a master yoga trainer. At the end of this video that we'll be doing today, I hope you feel more relaxed, more at ease, and we're going to be focusing on releasing some neck and shoulder tension with a special guided meditation at the very end. So today's practice we will be doing with a chair. So all you need to do is clear out a small amount of space, grab your chair, and we'll do under a 30-minute yoga workout. So let's get started. So let's find our way into a comfortable seat. Go ahead and sit back into your chair, taking your palms face up if we feel like we want to be open to this practice and be receptive, or if we're feeling a little unsettled during these times. Maybe we're not feeling as in control as we'd like, or not knowing what's going on. So let's take the palms, turn them over, palms facing down. With this, we get to feel a little more grounded. So let's find our feet kind of about hip-width distance apart, and let's place all the four corners of our feet onto the ground. If our feet are not comfortably touching the ground in the chair that we have, feel free to grab a yoga block or anything like that and placing it underneath our feet so that we can be comfortable here. We don't want just our feet to be heels lifted. We want to find the ground beneath us. So a nice way to do that, even if we found a pillow, that would completely work here too. So as we find a comfortable position, let's go ahead. If we want to lean back, that's great. Or if we want to sit up off of the back, we can do that. So let's start to just find our breath. So our inhale through our nose and our exhale through our nose. If this is not comfortable, anytime in our practice, we can switch our breath to whatever's most comfortable. But we try to breathe in and out through our nose so that it humidifies the breath, detoxifies the breath, and cleanses it. Plus, it helps us to bring it into a more relaxed state. So let's start to breathe in nice and slow, and breathing out nice and slow, taking our time to whatever feels great for our own pace. If we'd like, we can start to take our hands to our belly and feel the belly go out as we inhale. And then return as we exhale. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, belly goes out, just expanding forward, side, and back through the abdominal area, and exhaling, belly draws back in. We can remain with our hands on our belly, or we can return the hands back to our lap, elbows by our sides, shoulders over the hips. As we sit here, let's imagine lengthening through the crown of the head. So the head stacks over the shoulders, shoulders over our hips. If we can start to find a count on the inhale, maybe just finding a count of 4 or 5 on the inhalation. Whatever feels comfortable, and then matching that same count on the exhalation. Maybe we add a second or two to that inhalation. And add a second or two to that exhalation, matching. Last breath, just like this. Let's start to turn into a 3-part breath. Our 3-part breath, we imagine our torso like a cup, and we're filling it up from the bottom upward with our water pouring into a cup. Imagine that breath coming into the torso. So as we inhale, belly will expand, then ribs, and then the chest lifts and broadens. And as we exhale, we go from the chest to the ribs to the belly. Let's do that again. Inhaling from the belly to the ribs to the chest, and then from the chest to the ribs to the belly. This helps to bring in that diaphragm, and that diaphragm really turns the parasympathetic nervous system on. What does that mean? That just means we're relaxing and resting. It's tapping into the nervous system where we can restore and repair. Taking it out of just the stress breath, when we breathe through that upper chest, that turns on the sympathetic nervous system. Not a bad thing, but if it's on all the time, then it's go, go, go. And when does our body get to go into that other relax and restore nervous system. So we can help our body find more ease and our mind find more ease. So let's go ahead and take our hands overhead. Inhale, reaching to the sky. And exhaling, hands to heart center. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling as we expand the belly, the ribs, the chest. And as we bring our hands down, exhaling, chest, ribs, then belly. Just last one to open up the entire torso. Feeling the fullness of the breath, deep and complete. Let's find some side lateral flexion as we inhale, reach the hands overhead. Finding one hand to our seat, the other hand reaching toward the sky. We can gaze up or we can gaze down, or we can just be gazing forward. Feel that stretch through the side waist here and still feel that breath through the entire body. Helping to open up the rib cage. And then slowly switch to the other side. Inhale, reaching it up overhead, lifting and lengthening. Feeling the breath here. And exhale. Last breath here. As we're going to start to flow. So when we find an inhale, we reach up to the sky at our own pace. And as we exhale, switch to the other side. So move with our own breath. We're feeling, we're breathing. We're listening to our bodies here in our yoga practice. Adjusting for whatever's going on in our body space today. Remember, we can always take our bent elbow if that feels better for our shoulders. Adjusting the practice as we need. Last one on each side. Inhale, reach it up. And exhale. This time when we come here, let's pause and hold. And then on a diagonal, we'll take that hand, reach to the corner of the room, bowing the chin toward the chest, rounding the back, lengthening through that hand to the corner of the room. Last full breath here. And then returning that hand to neutral, center, and switching to the other side. Holding here. And then let's go ahead and then find that length, that diagonal movement, rounding that upper back, extending through the fingertips. Breathing here. Last breath in this posture. And then hand returning to our thigh and help ourselves up. We'll do an upright twist. So go ahead, inhale, take the hands overhead. And then we're turning to one direction. It doesn't matter which direction. One hand to the outside of the thigh, one hand to the back of the chair. If the back of your chair is a little bit lower, we can even take the arm over the back of that chair or holding here. Let's find that deep diaphragmatic breath, so belly breath here. We can be gazing to the side, we can be gazing over that back shoulder, but there's nothing special about looking toward the back of the room. On the next inhalation, taking the hands overhead, and as we exhale, switching to the other side. Finding that upright twist, leveling the shoulders here. On our next inhalation, hands returning to the sky. And exhaling, we'll find our hands onto those thighs. So we can actually open up those knees here. You can remove the blanket if you want, block, or if your feet are on the ground. We'll take our hands, palms facing in, and we'll drop one shoulder. Let's inhale, come to neutral. Exhale to the other side. Let's find a little gentle twist here through our backs, through our shoulders. One more on each side or so. Just moving and feeling our own range of motion today here. We try to bring in some calm thoughts with our breath nice and slow and ease in the body. And then slowly coming to neutral, we'll find a forward fold here. So we can take our hands, keep them on the thighs, or take them to the earth, or even using that block here. Having that block or a pillow or even a water bottle underneath our hands here, we can relax the head. Just let the stretch happen through the back of the head all the way down to our hips. And just relaxing here. Let the head become heavier and heavier. Let's find another breath or two to lengthen. It's not about how far we can come down. It's about the sensation within the stretch itself. So everybody's going to be feeling it a little bit differently. We could even close close our eyes here if that's comfortable. And let's help ourselves out. So we'll take one hand to our thigh, the other hand to our thigh, and help ourselves back up, coming on up. So let's go ahead and find a standing position. So we'll stand to one side of the chair here. As we stand to the side, we'll take that outside leg, so the one away from the chair, and step back. The front knee starts to bend. The outside hand, inhale, reaches up. Let's take that back heel and lift. Exhale and lower. Let's do that a few more times, bending that front knee and straightening as we lift. As we exhale, we bend the front knee again. So rocking forward, lifting the back heel, and exhaling. Last one. Inhale, reach it up. And then holding the hand here, exhaling, sinking into the back heel. Keeping the front knee bent to what's comfortable, front knee over front ankle. We can stay here, we can arch over the chair, kind of leaning in toward the chair, breathing here. We can always bend that arm if we'd like, or extending that arm, reaching overhead. We should feel a nice stretch to that entire side here. We can be holding onto the chair or taking our hand to our hip if we'd like a little more intensity here. And slowly releasing as we take our hands to our hips, or you can keep our hand on our chair as we slowly come forward. And then resting with a lengthened spine, and then let the head relax. So both legs are lengthened here. I'll turn to the side so you can take a peek and a view from the side if you'd like. You can stay where you're at and just lengthening both legs here and drawing one hip forward, the other hip draws back. Last breath here. And then slowly releasing. As we hold here, still at the side of the chair, let's find tree pose. The back leg will actually come forward. We'll take our heel to that ankle. We can take our heel, lifting up the leg onto the calf. We can take it up and over that knee. Holding here. We can take the outside hand to the heart. We can take both hands to our heart or remaining holding on. And then lifting the hand overhead, or option for both hands overhead, holding in tree pose here. So we're trying to anchor through that standing foot, all the way through the crown of the head. Let's find 2 more breaths. We might have some thoughts that come in and come out, which add to the sways of our tree. And that's okay. We're trying to keep focus in the moment. And let's take our hands to heart center and releasing. So walk around to the other side of the chair. We'll do the same thing. So it's our warrior one variation. We'll take that outside leg, step it back. With our outside hand, we inhale, reach it up, lift the back heel. And then exhale, slowly sink down. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, reach it up. And exhale down. Just rocking the back heel, a nice little stretch here. Continue to bend and straighten that front leg. Go the next time we're lifting up. We can leave that hand up and the back heel sinks to the earth. It's kind of at an angle, the back heel here. Find what's comfortable for that leg. We can always step wider if that's more comfortable for our hips. We can always bend our elbow if that feels better, or remaining lifted toward the sky. So we stay here, or we can start to arch toward into the chair. So we can be holding on or taking our hand to our hip if we'd like a little more sensation. Feeling that full expansion of the breath. That inhale through the nose, the exhale through the nose. If we can find that inhale, belly expands and broadens, rounds forward, sides and back. And then slowly releasing. We're coming into our pyramid pose. So we'll lengthen both legs, hinge from our hips here, coming forward, releasing. I'll come to the front so you can see the side view. You can have your hand on the chair as we hinge forward. So just evening out the hips and even the pressure through both feet. We're gazing down. We're not peeking up at the video because we want to keep length through the spine. Let's give ourselves another breath or two here. And then as we're ready, we can slowly help ourselves up. We'll find our way to tree pose. So from the side of the chair, that back leg comes forward. We can move that knee out. So take that knee, move it out, use that outer rotation of the hips. We can stay here. We can take our foot up, or we can take it up and over. So find what's comfortable. It doesn't have to be the same as the last side. Wherever you can stay for a few moments. You can stay with one hand onto the chair. You can take the other hand to heart, or you could find both hands at heart, or taking our hands overhead to create different tree branches above. So notice the hips, you're trying to find a horizon line. Sometimes the hip hikes up, but just evening that out, so we're evening the hips here. And feel the full breath of the breath. Maybe we close our eyes, or maybe we take the eyes up the wall toward the sky. Notice how that changes the sensation and balance. I love balanced postures because it helps you to keep in the present moment. Because if you let your mind go and drift, then we find some sways into the tree. Good. Let's go ahead and slowly release, exhaling, hands to heart center, and release. We're going to make our way back into our chair for a few hip stretches before we come into the shoulder and neck stretches that I promised you. And then finally finishing with a seated meditation. So first, we'll be taking one leg and extending it all the way out, pointing the toe toward the sky, sitting up tall, shoulders back. Inhale, lengthen. We can close our eyes if we like, and then exhaling, hinging forward with a forward fold here. Now, it doesn't matter how far we come down or don't. It's about finding the stretch to the back of that leg here. Our hands can remain on the thighs, or come to blocks, or come to cushions or water bottles, or to the ground. But we're focusing on lifting the toes up toward us and feeling the stretch to the back of that leg. But still continuing that easy breath here. Now this is a practice that we could do several times a week or even every day. This is an easy practice to do because we're seated and standing. We're not getting to the floor, or there's not any fast movements. But it's nice and relaxing. It helps not just the body, but also the mind. As we help ourselves up, let's go ahead and take that leg and cross it over. So we're sitting up nice and tall. Take the toes toward the shin to protect that kneecap. Sit up tall. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hinge from our hips. We should feel it into that outer hip here. We can let that knee kind of float down. But if we're not feeling much, then we can also grab that knee and kind of draw it toward us. So we're stretching into the piriformis, the outer hip here. And that might be a nice stretch if we're sitting sometimes through the day. Might feel that muscle get tight, or might not even notice it until we get into the pose. Let's find one last breath here. And slowly release. We'll switch to the other side to do the same routine. So taking the opposite leg, extending it out, toes pointed toward the sky. Press into that heel. Inhale, sit tall. Perhaps we close our eyes. As we hinge forward from our hips, I'll do a side view here. We're sitting at the edge of the chair and hinge on forward. And just lengthening. It's not about rounding through the back. It's about keeping our shoulders kind of drawn back away from those ears and feeling a stretch through that back of that leg. Let's give ourselves a few breaths here. Perhaps we hear the breath to ourselves, kind of closing off the back of the throat. That's called the Ujjayi breath, or the whisper breath. And that kind of creates like a metronome, or we can think of it as like when waves crash onto the shore gently. Kind of something soft and consistent that keeps us in the present moment. And then go ahead and take those hands, use your weight to come on up. And then crossing that ankle over. So I'll turn back to front. We just sit here, toes toward the shin, sit up nice and tall. And maybe we feel enough here without even hinging forward. Some might. We can slowly release it forward. Ooh, get a nice stretch. We might feel this one a little more or a little less. As we give ourselves a few breaths here. To get the full advantage of our stretching into the muscle groups, we want to stay for a few breaths, really about 5. 5 breaths, if we take it nice and slow, should be about 30 seconds, or maybe a little longer, depending on our breath rate. as everybody breathes a little bit differently, and that's okay. But the more we can practice on lengthening the breath, the calmer the body can be. Ah, beautiful. Let's slowly release. So for our neck and shoulder stretches that I promised you today, we will be taking our arms open, stretch it up or out, lift the chest. Nice. And then go ahead and take one arm across the chest, the other hand hooks underneath. Now, as we settle that shoulder down, we lift the arm perhaps a little bit if that's comfortable, and then let's let that head fall away from that shoulder that we're stretching. As we hold here, maybe we close our eyes. We might feel a stretch through the back of that shoulder. And let's give ourselves a few breaths here. If this is not comfortable, we can easily come into a stretch where we're just hugging with that straight arm, just bending the elbow and pushing the elbow back. So either variation works really nicely. Last breath here. And let's keep the head where it is. Swinging one arm overhead, placing it to the side of our head, just fingertip pressure here. And then we can hold the bottom of the chair, or we can extend that hand out and flick the wrist. Believe it or not, that energy through that wrist to the earth might give us a deeper stretch. So find what feels best to us, whether we hold on or extend that hand out. We can even point the fingertips to the earth and imagine that we're like Spider-Man with spider webs from our fingertips or our wrist down to the earth. Kind of find that traction point there. This is a nice way to open up this muscle along the side of the head. And then this one's a little tricky, so we're gonna release the fingertip pressure just a little bit. Turn that chin toward the same shoulder, like we're smelling our armpit, and then readjust the fingertips kind of toward the back of the head a little. So remember, we can hold on to the chair or take the arm out. We might feel a nice release through the side of that neck. So play with it and find what feels best for us here. And checking in, how does it feel on this side? So that when we slowly release, go ahead and release. Our hands come out by the side, open up. Kind of think like angel wings, opening those arms. And then crossing the other arm across. We'll hook, or we can always take the hand and push. So either variation works really well. So whatever's most comfortable for us. It could be the shoulders that might be tight, or just the lengthy arms that fit more comfortably into one versus the other. Awesome. Last breath here. We drop the head away from that shoulder. Let's keep the head there. And then taking that same hand up to that head, over to one side, whether we extend the hand out or hold the bottom of the chair. What feels best to us here? Again, playing with what's comfortable here and knowing that we're feeling safe at this moment. So we adjust the pose for our own edge. We can always draw back as we need. Last full breath here. And then let's go ahead and release the fingertip pressure, turning the chin toward that same shoulder, and then draw that chin down. So keeping either the hand flexed or holding the bottom of the chair. And notice the sensations on this side of the neck and the shoulders. Are we getting a deeper stretch here, or is it a little easier? And then releasing, let the head float up. Let's take a moment here to close our eyes. Feel the full breath and notice maybe how the neck and the shoulders are feeling. Softening through the jaw. As we take these last few moments for our practice to come into that guided meditation that I promised you. So go ahead and either stay here or sit on back. So however we're most comfortable. Again, if we have our hands, palms facing down, we get to feel a little more grounded if that's better and anchoring for us today. Or if we want to be open and receptive to some of these messages, take the palms toward the sky. Let's take 3 nice slow breaths with a deep sigh at the end. So out in through the nose and out through the mouth. So when we're ready, go ahead and inhale. And exhale. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Let's take our shoulders up by our ears on the next inhalation. And exhale, roll them down. 2 more like this, something special on the second one. After this, inhale and exhale. The next one, as we inhale, shoulders up, let's hold it here, hold it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. Inhale, 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 and drop it away. Beautiful. As we're sitting up nice and tall, we can be relaxed back or off the back of the chair. The feet on the ground, so again, if our feet aren't touching the ground, feel free to bring that block in, or a blanket or a pillow. And if we'd like, and we feel comfortable, close our eyes here. This is important for the last few moments of our practice as I take you through a guided meditation. So just enjoy. So let's inhale, close the eyes, and exhale, release. Staying with that breath. Let's just start to imagine from the crown of the head, every muscle in the body relaxing. With an inhale, like a beautiful ocean wave lapping onto the shore. The breath rolls in, and then like that wave recedes, the breath rolls out, melting down from the crown of the head across the forehead, around the ears, around the jaw. If our teeth are clenched, we gently unpart them, especially the back teeth, docking the tongue at the roof of the mouth, the lips just press slightly together. Let each breath slowly work its way down the body, through the neck and the shoulders, out into the upper arms, releasing and relaxing, through the forearms and out into the hands, out into the fingers, releasing and relaxing each muscle as we go. Breathing into the chest, into our upper back. Any remaining tension dissolves and melts away. Breathing into the belly, into the lower back and into the hips. Feeling the calm, feeling the ease, like a gentle wave over the body. Out into the upper legs, around the knees and behind the knees, into the lower leg, into the ankles and out into the feet, feeling the entire foot onto the earth, out into the toes. The body is completely relaxed, completely at peace. Imagining each breath coming into the body like a gentle wave coming onto the shore. And as we exhale, that gentle wave recedes, imagining our mind like the sand on the shore. Perhaps there was footprints from all of our thoughts across the mind, across that beach. And with each gentle wave coming in and coming out, finding fresh new sand, impressions of the thoughts dissolved away. Finding a renewed sense of calm and a renewed sense of peace. And just knowing that we can take this feeling with us into the day. Just simply returning to our yoga breath at any time. Let's turn on a gentle smile, whether it's external or internal. And then we can start to open our eyes if we'd like, or start to move our fingers or our toes. And then find some movement back into the body. And that is our 30-minute chair yoga class for calm, for ease, focusing on neck and shoulders. If you like this meditation and this yoga practice, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then also be sure to share it with anyone that could benefit from this practice. And find me on Facebook at Iron Bell Fitness. Again, my name is Leslie L. Harrington, bringing you health and fitness to you. Namaste.